Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hey, if you're new here, you're welcome. Please help me click the subscribe button below. Help me reach my goal of subscribers this year. Alright, so just click on the subscribe button below. Okay, so today I want to review a book that we read while we were courting, and it's a very good book. I think of this book, Things I Wish I'd Known Before We Got Married. It's a very great book and it has helped us in our marriage. Homes are built on the foundation of wisdom and understanding, and where there is knowledge, the rooms are furnished with valuable and beautiful things. So let's get right into reviewing this book. There are 12 chapters here, right? But I would rush it, talk about each one first. So in the first one, the chapter 1 says that being in love is not an adequate foundation for building a successful marriage. Yes. So if you want a successful marriage, love alone is not enough. So when you're dating someone, one of the things you have to consider is that, are you guys spiritually unified? Are you in unity spiritually? Do you agree on the same things? Do you love God? Is he a born again? Is she a born again Christian? If it is otherwise, if you don't agree spiritually, it's going to cause a rift in your marriage. You have clashes. Are you intellectually unified, emotionally, socially? So you have to agree. Gary Chapman put it at the end. You usually put an action plan here. So intellectual, you have to have your intellectual dialogue. How do you guys? Are you on par when it comes to intellectual, emotional, social interest, spirituality, and you have common values? So those are the things you have to consider before you get married, right? So in this particular chapter, it talked about the love languages, and I would say to you, if you're watching me now as a married person or as a single and you don't know your love language yet, please go and do the quiz before you get married. This is one of the things you should know. You should know your love language. It just makes things easy for you guys, in marriage. In the third chapter, it talked about like mother like daughter and like father like son is not a myth, meaning that a fruit does not go far away from the tree. The way our parents raised us, the way your parents raised you, still tells you still take some of the traits and the parenting style that they used for you into your marriage now. So he now preferred that this is what you should do. We should list out all the things as a man that you like about your father, then make a list of the things you consider to be negative traits in your father. And then if the girl you're dating has spent considerable time with her father, ask her to do the same thing. Married people can also do this. And if, for instance, because our past has a way to come into our future, the things we learned while growing up has a way to show up in our marriages. So list out all the things your father did that you love, and there's some certain things that you feel that I think I'm not going to use this in my marriage. I'm not going to use that. Then for the lady to do that and list out all the things you love about your mom, and then the things that you feel, okay, I think I don't want to use this, I don't want to use this in my own marriage, and acquire knowledge for it. So he suggested that for couples to do. Okay, so the next chapter says, I wish I knew how to solve disagreements without arguing. Yes, there are ways to solve disagreements. This is called conflict resolution in marriage. I'm going to do a video of that soon. So you don't have to argue to solve disagreements. There are ways to communicate. Some certain times that you would argue about things and you want your spouse to see that I'm actually right, and your spouse is thinking I am the one that is right. In that scenario, when the two of you are feeling I'm the one right, you are the one right, you keep arguing, and if you don't work on it, if you don't handle it very well, it might lead to a lot of things that you don't want. Divorce doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't just happen in a day. People have been arguing, have been having conflicts in their marriages that they did not resolve, that eventually led them to go in their separate ways. So one of the things you can do is to find out that in marriage you cannot always have your way. Rather, you discover our way. When we read this chapter and we said, okay, how do we resolve conflict in our marriage? What we said was that we would find a way to always discuss it and come to a solution before we even depart. I was saying that before we go to bed, we shouldn't take any resentment or anything to bed. But my husband said that while we were cutting, he mentioned it that we should make sure that while we are talking and arguing or trying to resolve a conflict, even before we depart, like before we go our separate ways, maybe I'm going to work or he's going to work, or maybe we are going somewhere, before we even leave before we leave each other, we should find a way to resolve it, because you never can tell what will happen when you guys are away. When you're away and we don't resolve it, something can come or it might start to lead to resentment. And after 3 years, a way to resolve our conflict and not carry it over. Now, I hear this thing that couples do. You keep malice with your partner for weeks, for weeks in the house. Please, this is not right. You're leaving a space for the devil to come and sow seed or more discord. It's not right. If you're watching this, please stop that habit. There is nothing that can't be resolved. With wisdom and understanding, you can resolve any conflict. Nothing that can be resolved. So rather than keep malice for weeks, for days, please just resolve it at that point and let the Holy Spirit reign in your marriage. Do not give the devil a chance to destroy your home. To know before you get married is that apologizing is a sign of strength. Ego cannot help you to have a successful marriage. That is just the thing. So at times, we are humans, we say demeaning things to ourselves. Sometimes you do things that are wrong to your spouse, but the ability to apologize, to accept responsibility and ask for forgiveness is a sign of strength. Please remember this. Always remember this in marriage. So one of the things I love about this book is that at the end of each chapter, you write action plan. So talking it over, you then sit with your partner and then you guys will talk about certain things. For us, we did this. For each chapter we read, we then go to the action plan and talk. So one of the things for this chapter, he said, do you remember the last time you apologized to your spouse? If so, what did you say? Do you remember the last time someone apologized to you? Did it seem sincere? Did you forgive the person? Why or why not? The third one, discuss with each other what you expect to hear in a sincere apology. There's a way to apologize. I'm sorry. They are two different things. They are the same words, but with the body language, it means two different things. So apologizing the right way, you see it. So I'm asking you, if you're watching me and you're married or you're currently cutting someone, is there something you need to apologize about? Do it today. Chapter 6 of the book, Gary Chapman says that forgiveness is not a feeling. Now, why during my marriage is a union of two forgivers. Successful marriages are a union of two forgivers. See, there's someone that you know how to forgive. That's why it is important while you're single to work on yourself. Be the right person for that partner, right? No healthy marriages without sincere apologies and genuine forgiveness. The toilets are not self-cleaning. Who does what in the house? So this is about chores, right? If you don't discuss this before you're married, you have issues about it in marriage. But if you're married, you can still have a conversation about this. So that's why I used to say to couple single that are courting, make sure you have some certain discussion and you agree on some certain things and you put it in God's hand. It saves you a lot of stress when you're married. For us, when we read this chapter, very good one, it says that toilets are not self-cleaning. What that means is that the dishes will not do itself, the cars will not wash themselves, the house will not clean itself. So who does what? Right? This is not about gender role or anything. It's best to train, and I'll say this, it's best to train both boy and girl child to know how to do chores. Chores in the house should not be left to a woman alone, right? Now we had this conversation. We even from the practical that is here. There's a practical here. It's a very practical book, a practical exercise. It says that you agree on some certain things before marriage. What makes you think that you agree after marriage? So that's why conversations like this are really important. So for this part, we wrote out. I remember very well that myself and my husband sat down. It was my fiance then. We sat down and when we wrote out everything that we'll be doing in the house. Now, the place of getting help in the house, if you want to get people to do things for you, fine, if you have that resources. But as at that time, what we did was we knew that, oh no, we are not having any help, we're not hiring any domestic staff and all that. So we sat down and listed out the things that will be required to be done in the house. For instance, cooking. And so we did a tabular form. If I have for my name here, my husband's name here. So we wrote cooking, for instance. So whose strength is that? It's my strength. And then we talked about what you like and what you dislike. For some guys, they love to cook. We just give them that. For some guys, it's cleaning for them. They just love to clean. For some guys, certain things they love to do. So for cooking, we wrote for me 80% will be for me. Will do that. That's what we did. For him, maybe 20%. Maybe those days I'm tired or he comes back from work before me, then he can do it. We wrote out everything. We wrote out toilet cleaning. We wrote out sweeping, mopping the house. We wrote out cleaning the cars. For that part, we wrote for my husband 80%. His own is to find a way to clean the cars. In the beginning of our marriage, he used to do it. To clean. We had just one car then, so he used to clean the car. That was his responsibility, right? And then later on, as God blessed us, we got someone. Beginning of our marriage, we both knew that this is my husband's responsibility to clean the cars. Then another thing we wrote who will take the trash out. That was my husband's responsibility. We wrote 80% for him and me 20%. It helped us a lot in the house. Now we have quite a number of ends that help us out with things. But I wish I knew that we needed a plan for handling our money. Yes. So myself and my husband, darling husband, did a video. You can find it in my videos. We did a video on money conversations to have with your partner. You have to discuss how you handle money before you get married. So quite a number of people just go into marriage without having this conversation, and then along the line they start to have arguments and issues over it. It's better to talk about it. You might not agree on everything together while cutting or talk, but at least you will be aware that this is his standpoint. This is a standpoint, and you know if you are able to flow with that or not, right? This chapter, that mutual sexual fulfillment is not automatic. Chapman said that if he had known that taking out the garbage is sexy for his wife, he'll have been doing it every now and then. What that means is that from this, doing that is an act of service for the wife, right? And when you put that in place for her during the course of the day, at night when you want to have sex with your wife, it's easier for you to get to that stage. It's easier for her to quickly move into that stage of sex. Now, just to wait for it. Don't test, because how do I then know if this person is going to be sexually compatible with me? If you're both Christians, there is nothing God cannot do. Nothing. And there is nothing knowledge. We said it. We saw it earlier. Wisdom and understanding and knowledge cannot do. You can actually read books on how to have sexual fulfillment. Yes, that's the thing. All right, so that is about that. He had known that he was marrying into a family. So what that means is that when you're marrying your partner, you're not just marrying that person. You are marrying that person, especially in our own culture. In Nigeria, when you marry someone, you are marrying the family. It's like your own family. See them like they raised you. It makes things easy for you. There are a lot of things there. Yeah. There are lots. So I would say that you should get this book. Final chapter says that personality profoundly influences behavior. It says that you have to discover who you are as a being, who you are as a person. has an effect in your marriage, in your home, right? And that's why I used to say something that discover who you are. So all the things I said now, it looks like hard work. Marriage is work. That's just the truth. To have a successful marriage, to even have anything successful business, you have to put in the work. But the beautiful part is that you can be doing the work and you will enjoy it. You will enjoy it. So you have to put in the work to have a successful, and it is beautiful. Successful, having a beautiful marriage is awesome. The fact that you're obeying God, you're using your marriage to influence life, living a purposeful marriage, and then people are seeing your marriages and it's inspiring them, is fulfilling. And then the children you bring into that marriage, you give birth to in that marriage, will also grow up and be and know love, see love, and feel love, and it will make the society better. The core of everything is family. Everything starts from the family. When the society is full of crimes, so full of negativity, go and check the family. When a society is full of positive things, great things, excellent things, go and check the families. That is why I am always here to talk about this thing called family. Please, I beg you, let your home glorify God. Let your home be a sample. Let your home be a role model marriage. Let your home be a beautiful one to raise godly, wonderful children. Because the work you're putting in now is not just for now alone. You will reap the reward now. You have a beautiful marriage, and your children will also be affected positively by that work you put in. So don't see it as work. See it as something like a generational impact that you're putting. Knowing who you are as a person, it makes it easy to explain who you are to your spouse, and you both will come together and help each other grow. Alright, so I've come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching and for subscribing. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye.